Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Matty here from Chill TCG. Today we're going to be taking a look at the deck list that won Chill Series number 38, I believe it was, which wrapped up this past Wednesday. Crazy, we're moving through the season so quickly. This was our, I believe our second tournament where Chilling Reign was legal, where the set was out and we were using it. Where players were using the new carts for all the decks. So it's crazy. The first week, Shadow Rider won the event. No surprise there. However, in the second week here, Shadow Rider did make it to finals, but it did fall to Lucmetal. And Lucmetal's been kind of this older deck that has remained one of the best decks in our format. We saw Pikarom, ADP, Mewtwo, all of those decks from the last generation of Pokemon cards still be really viable, but right now in this Chilling Reign format, at least so far, Lucmetal seems to be that one deck that is still performing very, very well. So of course, we're going to be taking a look at the list that won. I don't have the guy's name right off the top of my head. He was from Japan, I believe, so I'll put up his name, it'll be down in the description below. But I believe the name of his PTCGO account was Wade Daze. That's not his real name, but this is, for all intents and purposes, Wade Daze's deck list. So big shout out to him. I'll give a link down below giving him a shout out. But anyway, this was his Lucmetal list that he used to win the 527 player tournament. So absolutely crazy. Lucmetal's still really good right now. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the deck list. We all know what Lucmetal does. But we're going to hop into some games and we're going to see how this deck list really works. But before we get into that, we'll talk about it just a little bit. Of course, if you guys want to put this list into PTCGO, if you want to try it out for yourself, the export will be down in the description below as well. So go check that out. But yeah, Lucmetal, man, it's pretty standard too as far as Lucmetal lists go. The list, the archetype, the 60, hasn't really changed a whole lot in the last couple months. It just happens to be really viable right now in Chilling Reign. There's a couple things that are a little bit different with this Lucmetal list. We'll take a look at it in just a second. But yeah, so we got 2 Lucmetals, right? 4 Zacian Vs and 2 Zamazenta Vs. And these are really the only Pokemon that we want to run in this list. Lucmetal is phenomenal. We're going to use it to GX attack. Not only does it discard the energy from our opponent's active Pokemon, but our Metal-type Pokemon take 30 less damage throughout the whole entirety of the game, for the rest of the game, which is really, really good because this deck is all about tanking, taking hits, and just surviving. So Lucmetal is really going to be good for that purpose. We're not going to use more than one almost ever, but we have 2 in the list just so we can make sure that we always have at least 1 in case one gets prized. Zacian V is going to be our main attacker. It's our main kind of purpose for the deck. It's our best metal-type attacker in the game, honestly. 230 damage for 3 energies. Really, really, really good. But we also have the Intrepid Sword ability, which is incredibly useful to draw cards, especially early game, to set up our hand and to set up our board state. So Zacian V is going to be really, really important. That's why we're running 4 of them in the deck. We're probably going to use 2 to 3 of these every game. It's going to be the main way that we do damage. So shout out to Zacian V, incredibly good card. But we also have 2 Zamazenta Vs. And Lucmetal, like I said, is a very defensive deck. We like to kind of take hits and just kind of slowly dish out the damage. But Zamazenta V kind of goes through all that. To be 100% honest with you, Zamazenta V is immune to all damage from VMAX Pokemon, which are extremely common right now in this Chilling Reign format. We have Ice Rider, we have Shadow Rider, we have Victini VMAX, any other VMAX deck that might be seeing a lot of play right now in this format. Zamazenta V is going to be absolutely immune to any damage from those Pokemon. So we have 2 of those in the deck. Sometimes if you're going against things like Eternatus VMAX or Shadow Rider or Ice Rider, we're just going to put 2 of these Zamazenta Vs on board and we might not even need to use Lucmetal. So that's really important as well. It also has a nice attack here, 2 metal and a colorless 130. You discard a special energy as well. That can be really useful. Now, the other really only big difference with this Lucmetal list, as we take a look at it, is he's running 4 Crushing Hammers. And Hammer Lucmetal used to be much more common, I think, a few formats ago, when Lucmetal was seeing a bit more play back then. But last format, Crushing Hammers wasn't really played in Lucmetal, but now it seems to be one of the best ways to play it. It's really good in a lot of different scenarios. It can be really good against Shadow Rider and Ice Rider. So Crushing Hammer, it's I don't know, it might not be the best way to play Lucmetal right now, but this was the specific deck list that won our tournament. So that's what we're taking a look at today. Let me know in the comment section below, do you run Crushing Hammers in Lucmetal? Just a question. But other things that Lucmetal is almost always going to run, and that is, of course, 3 Lillie's Pokédoll, 4 Metal Saucer, 4 Switch, 4 Tag Call. So that's another thing that can sometimes change with Lucmetal. Is kind of the draw engine. Sometimes we're running quick balls, but for this list, we're running 4 tag calls, and that's because, of course, we do have 2 Lucario and Melmetal-GX, which are tag team Pokemon, but we also have 2 Cynthia Caitlyn 2 Guzma Hala, and 2 Mallow Lana. All of those 3 different types of tag team supporter cards are extremely useful in this deck, which makes sense. So that's 6 in total, 8 with Lucmetal, and with Tag Call we get to grab 2. So it just makes sense. We have 8 tag team cards in our deck, and we have 4 Tag Calls to find those cards whenever we need them. So makes the deck list that much more consistent. 2 Chaotic Swells. Now, last format, the Stadium was really debatable what we were going to be running in Lucmetal, but I think with so many Path to the Peak seeing play right now, 2 Chaotic Swell is almost entirely necessary, and Path to the Peak is really difficult with Lucmetal because it turns off our Zamazenta and Zacian V abilities. So we don't want Path to the Peak in play. In fact, we're going to be running double Chaotic Swell. I honestly, personally, if I had to change this list, would add a 3rd Chaotic Swell because Marshadow is so popular right now as well. Yeah, 2 Chaotic Swell is what Wade Daze was playing. 4 Boss, and then those tag team supporters, like we said, and 4 Marnie. So the 4 Marnie, 4 Boss is really important. Boss's orders can be really clutch in Lucmetal. It's also a card that we can kind of freely discard 1 or 2 of them, so it's nice to always have them in our list. And then 4 Marnies as well. We don't want to deck out. We want to prevent ourselves from decking out, so Marnie's going to be really useful for that, as well as disrupting our opponent's hand. 3 Metal Goggles. Now, a lot of times you'll see Toughness Cape in Lucmetal. Right now, it just doesn't actually seem that necessary. Toughness Cape can be really good in E-Turn if they're running Phoebe, but now E-Turn isn't really teching for Lucmetal like it was last format, so I guess that's just something to keep in mind. 3 Metal Goggles, no Cape of Toughness. And then for on to the energy, we're running 14 energies, 2 Capture Energies, 2 Coding Energies, and this is going to be Capture is going to be able to get basic Pokemon on our bench. Specifically, we can attach this, because it's a colorless energy, we can attach this to Lucmetal or Zamazenta V. The Metal Coating Energy is going to be to remove our Fire-type weakness, even though Fire-type isn't actually that popular in our format right now. 10 basic Metal Energies. These are going to work with Intrepid Sword. So we want a lot of them because we want to snag those energies up with Intrepid Sword whenever we use it with our Zacian V. So this is the Lucmetal list that won the 527-player Chill Series number 38 tournament. Sorry, I did actually talk about it for quite a bit, but we're going to get it some games. We're going to try it out, see if we can get you guys some good Lucmetal gameplay. So let's get right into it. Alright guys, let's get right into it. Playing Lucmetal. We're playing Smithers. We're both rocking that Bidoof box. Lucmetal and I have a pretty special connection. To be honest with you, Lucmetal was actually the deck that I used to qualify for Players Cup. This most recent Players Cup 4. But, you know, I actually never played Lucmetal with hammers, and it does seem a little bit interesting. But again, I guess it's just sort of a meta choice right now. Lucmetal is notorious for having really consistent starting hands. It's a really well-constructed and a really well-thought-out list. So we're going to see what we're playing. We see the Zacian there in the active spot, so definitely could be the Mirror, which would be a really interesting game to be putting up here, but we also could be playing ADP. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach, we're not going to attach Metal Goggles to Zacian V yet. We're going to go ahead and grab Lucario and Melmetal-GX. I think that's going to be the most important thing for us to grab. We could grab Guzma as well. I'm just looking at my hand. I don't know if Mallow Lana would be better. I guess maybe it would be because we want to guarantee that we have a switching out, but we have 4 switch in our deck still, so it's kind of a debate. We're also going to end our turn on Intrepid Sword. We definitely want Lucmetal, so I think maybe we're going to grab a Mallow Lana just in case that we need a way to switch into this Lucmetal next turn. So let's bench this bad boy. We can go ahead and attach an energy to the Lucmetal, and I guess what we could do is attach Metal Goggles to the Zacian, because we're not running any Air Balloon in this list, so it doesn't really matter if we, attach it here. So I think that's going to be the safest play, and then we're going to Intrepid Sword here. We do not find any energies off Intrepid Sword, which is never that great. We love to find those energies, but we do, of course, find another Boss, Syncate, and another Lucario and Melmetal. So if we're playing the Mirror, the hammers might actually come in clutch. If we're playing ADP, the hammers might come in clutch. Lucmetal traditionally has a pretty good ADP matchup, and it seems that we are going to be playing ADP, which is actually really good for us. Traditionally, Lucmetal has a good matchup on ADP, and I think the hammers specifically are going to be really good against ADP as well. So this is going to be that Aurora ADP box list, and that's just kind of how it's going to be. So he's going to set up double Zacians. Again, I don't think the other attackers in his list are going to be more relevant, and he actually brings in the Lucmetal for us, which was pretty good, actually. We actually don't mind that. He's going to get the Saucer off, and if this is a research, it's a Crobat. Wow, so he's actually might be able to get the turn 1 GX off with the ADP, which could be really, really good for him. That might be actually a little bit dangerous for us, but I'm actually pretty okay with that. If we get another energy on here, we can full effect Full Metal Wall him, which would be really phenomenal for us. And what we can also do is just hit him with a Crushing Hammer. So I'm really actually excited for this matchup. Hopefully he plays all the way through. Sometimes when you're playing on the ladder with Lucmetal, your opponent just seems to kind of scoop. He's digging for that Dedenne, so it looks like he's going to discard the 6-card hand that he has right now, and he's going to be looking as hard as he can to find that E-switch, because that energy switch is going to move this metal onto the ADP, and he's going to be able to ultimate Ray for the full effect. He does put the Air Balloon onto the Zacian. That's good. Now that one Zacian is going to be a nice pivot for him. Give free retreat. And it looks like he's going to burn the boss to bring our Zacian back up to the active, which is, again, probably a smart play because next turn we're going to need to switch into this Lucmetal. And on top of that, we're actually going to need to find an energy to GX. So this could be a pretty tricky situation for us. We need a couple things, realistically. So he does get that GX attack off, which is pretty impressive. Definitely a good first turn for him. Right off the bat, we're going to hit the Crushing Hammers, and we do. That's a heads. We're going to take off that Aurora energy for sure. And now we're also still in a kind of an awkward situation. We still would like to full metal wall. I think that's going to be our #1 priority. But we're missing an energy and a way to switch out, which is really tough for us. But hopefully we stopped him from ultimate raying with that hammers. We could also draw into another hammer as well. So I think what we want to do is actually Marnie here. It's not super ideal. We want switch. We want energy. Those would be the two best things for us. But the fact is that we have a Metal Goggles set on our board is going to be really, really good. So we do whiff anything that we probably could have needed there. A little bit unfortunate, but what we can do, of course, is put this doll down. And now actually what I want to do, I think, is we have another energy in hand. So I'm hoping that he doesn't get the double energy onto his ADP this turn. He doesn't have any metal in his discard pile. He also discarded Viridian Forest as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the energy to the Zacian because we're not going to be able to GX attack this turn, and I'm going to Intrepid Sword. We do find a second one, and there are the switching cards which we would have needed. So next turn, even if he does Ultimate Ray us, we're not in a terrible position. There's a lot of leeway when you're playing Lucmetal. If we GX attack with these on top of the Metal Goggles, our Metal Pokemon are going to be taking 60 less damage, which is going to be really good for us because his Zacians, unless he's got a Rusted Sword tool card to attach to his Zacian, he's not going to be able to actually KO our Zacians 1-for-1, where we're going to be able to KO him. So we're actually still in a better position. We're up 3 energies on our board to 2 now for him. He's discarding the Eldegoss, which is also really good for us. We might have Martied him into a bad hand as well. That's all we can hope for. He does have the research, but unfortunately he gets rid of another Metal Goggles for him. So what he wants to do here is potentially do what he did last turn, where he discards a Metal Energy, Metal Saucers it onto his Zacian, and then energy switches it onto ADP. If he can't do that this turn, he's not going to be able to attack, and that's going to be really rough for him. So he brings up the Zacian, which in my opinion is a really, really interesting play, and he's going to pop the Intrepid Sword. So we kind of made out there pretty well. We survived, and we're doing good, in my opinion. I'm going to bench the second Zacian, 100%. We're going to attach to our active Zacian. We don't need to GX attack yet. I don't think so, at least. Because if we had boss's orders in hand, I would want to boss up that ADP, but unfortunately, that's just not the play here, so we're just going to attach that energy, and now I feel safe to actually Marnie him again. This is why we're running 4 Marnies. Absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating for sure. And we have another Crushing Hammer, which is going to be really, really fun to use. And we're going to take the KO and take 2 prize cards here. So let's pop this Crushing Hammer. That one is a heads. So you got to love the Crushing Hammer procs. Absolutely gross. We're going to put that Lace Poké down. And we can feel free to just hit him with Brave Blade. We're taking 2 prize cards by doing this. And he, of course, is just not in a great state. Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and concede the game. So unfortunately, on the ladder, people are just going to concede. That's just how Lucmetal is, especially. It's a very top-heavy deck, especially when you're playing Crushing Hammers in your list. We hit 2 hammers there. He whiffed. Of course, the second energy switch combo, playing ADP. So that matchup is typically pretty good for us. We had a lot of outs there. Even if we didn't hit hammers or he didn't miss, we also could have found just a way to switch in and full metal wall the active ADP, which we would have done eventually to get rid of some energy. So we're going to get into another one. We might not be able to find a full-length game. That's just how ladder matches work, and I don't have anyone to play against personally, so I do apologize for that. I might set something up where perhaps like I play somebody in my Discord server or something like that. We play some matches. That could be pretty cool, so you guys could get featured into the video. I think that actually might be a pretty fun thing to do. We'll have to maybe set that up, so we'll see here. Okay, so another starting hand, which I actually do like. Again, when we're starting with Lucmetal, we would like to go first. And we want to get Lucmetal down typically, and we want to get a Zacian down to end our turn on Intrepid Sword. Looks like we're playing Dragapult. However, this could be like Green Pult. Could be a lot of different things. He plays the Rocky Helmet, and there's the Path to the Peak, which is actually going to be really, really annoying for us. However, we do have a Tag Call, so we can grab Guzma Hala. That's going to actually really help us to, potentially, find our Chaotic Swell, which is going to be really important. So he grabs the Marnie with gear. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to Marnie this turn because he's going first. So we have everything that we kind of want to do laid out here. We top deck the Chaotic Swell. Are you kidding me? All right, that's actually really crazy, honestly. Really, really crazy. So we're going to Tag Call here, and I think what we want to do is we want to grab a Guzma Hala, and I think that we'll probably also want to grab We want a way to draw some cards. So I actually might grab Cynthia Caitlyn here. And we might actually syncate this turn, now that I'm thinking about it. We're going to attach the capture to Lucmetal because, of course, he does need a colorless energy. Let's grab a Zacian V. We could grab a Zamazenta V, but on our first turn, it's more important that we get a Zacian down so we can end our turn with Intrepid Sword. That's typically going to be the most important thing. And actually, what I want to do here... yeah, because we have Guzma in hand, actually. So I'm going to Cynthia Caitlyn. We're not going to be able to grab a supporter card from our discard pile, but we are going to just be able to discard this energy. I'm not going to grab anything, but we're going to draw 3 cards. So that's honestly a really good turn for us. We can saucer onto this Zacian V. Let's throw this hammer out as well. Man, that's heads. We're 3 for 3 this video, so we're feeling pretty good. And we're going to end our turn with Intrepid Sword. Doesn't find, we don't find any more metal energy, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But he's got 4 cards in hand. We have 7 cards in hand. We're going to GX next turn. He doesn't have any energy, so we're feeling pretty good about our situation. Hopefully Carl Peters here. Oh, he's also running hammers. Uh-oh. And he also gets the heads. Hopefully Carl Peters here has... okay, so hopefully Carl isn't somebody who's going to scoop the game too quickly. He plays Kabu, which is really interesting. Very interesting card. Second hammers. Wow, he gets double heads on that. What a guy. What an absolute savage. Not a big deal, I don't think, for us, realistically. He still needs a lot. So I'm not in a bad... I'm not too upset about what's going on here. We have a Crushing Hammer. Does this one hit heads? We're just flipping heads right now. I'm gonna give him the laughing face because that's pretty funny. So we want to preserve this Lucmetal. So I'm gonna actually switch into it. We can put the goggles onto this Lucmetal, and I'm gonna put the energy on the Lucmetal. I'm gonna put the goggles on the Zacian actually. That's gonna be my play. And yeah, this is. I mean, it's an awkward situation to be in. I think. I'm gonna Tag Call. We're going to Tag Call, and we're just going to grab these other supporters here. So we could GX this turn, but we're in no rush, because if we GX, we want to also discard the energies in the same turn, in my opinion. I'm not going to bench this other Zacian yet. There's no real reason for me to do that. So what I could do is Guzma, but I don't want to do that, because I don't want to discard 2 cards from my hand yet. So we're going to Cynthia Caitlyn, again, for nothing, and we are going to actually discard this Zacian V, because we have other ones left in our deck. We're not going to grab any supporter from our discard pile because we can't. We're going to put... there's no reason to bench this other doll either. So we're just going to Intrepid. We do find an energy. We find a special coding energy and a basic, which is actually preferred because we get +1 on the Zacian. The next turn, we can get the second one on the Lucmetal. We can switch in with doll. We can GX, and then, of course, we're in a really good spot. So let's see if this hammer hits. It doesn't. If it did, that would have been fine for us. The Marnie is really annoying, though, because now we still want an energy, realistically. But going it down to a 4-card hand from where we were at just then, of course, not going to be super advantageous. But there's the Zamazenta V, the Tag Call, and the metal energy, which is super good for us, actually. That was like the best case scenario, in my opinion. Let's bring up this Lucmetal. We're feeling pretty good about this. We're in a pretty decent position at this point. Let's bench that Zamazenta. We can attach this energy to the Lucmetal. And now we don't really have anything else that we want to do except just Full Metal Wall GX. And that's going to discard his energy, but now we're taking 30 less damage from attacks, as well as our Zacian V isn't actually going to be able to have any damage counters placed onto him because of that Metal Goggles. So that's actually going to be really, really good for us. He plays the Skyla, which is interesting. He might be grabbing a Crushing Hammer with that Skyla. He grabs Path to the Peak. Again, not super ideal for us, but again, we do have another Chaotic Swell, which we can grab with Guzma this turn. So that's going to be our play. That's definitely going to be our play. So let's Tag Call. We're going to grab Guzma and a Mallow Lana. How many Metal Saucers do we have? We're down 2. We might discard this energy, or we could attach for turn. I don't know which is better to discard. We're probably going to discard this boss here. Or we could discard the switch. Are we down any switches yet? We're down 1 switch. We don't want to discard Mallow Lana. That is for sure. So I think what we are going to do here, actually, is we're going to Guzma, and we're gonna discard the switch and the boss's orders. We could have discarded the energy, actually, now that I think about it. But we're going to grab Metal Goggles. Ooh, we actually don't have our other Chaotic Swell. It seems to be prized, and that is actually really tough. 100% really tough for us. I'm going to grab Capture Energy, because I think, well, maybe not. I think we're just going to grab Coding. So that is tough. That is a really tough situation for us to be in, I think. Well, let's put the goggles on the Zamazenta. We're just going to put the energies onto this Zacian V. And then we can go ahead and just start Steel Fisting for 50. We are going to take some damage from that, which is not great. But we can slowly attach some energies to our Lucmetal, whittle down this Dragapult. So with the Rocky Helmet and the Horror Energy, we are taking that extra damage, which isn't very great. But next turn, yeah, Yeah, it's a tough situation to be in. The fact is that we did prize that other Chaotic Swell, which is just really tough. That would have been super nice to have because we could have just ended our turn on Intrepid Sword. That would have actually been preferable. No matter what, we have 140 HP left, and he's not doing much to us because he's doing whatever he attacks us with, it's actually minus 60. He brings up the Zamazenta V, which is really interesting. He's not actually going to be able to damage it, but he is going to be able to place damage counters onto our Lucmetal. Oh, actually, he shreds, so he's going to just hit it for 70, which, of course, just hits through our ability because that's just how it works. So... interesting situation to be in, but I think what we're going to want to do is just maybe hit with Zacian V in this scenario. We don't want to... yeah, the thing is we're really low on cards, and we can't just Intrepid Sword to have more cards to burn. This is his only Dragapult on his board, though, so I'm feeling pretty fine. I'm just going to go into this Zacian, and we're going to hit him for 230 damage. So we are going to take 4 damage counters from that, but then we're safe. And I'm just assuming he doesn't have another Boss's Orders card in his hand, or at least I hope he doesn't. So this is a little bit of an awkward situation, for sure. Definitely a little bit awkward, but all we need is like an energy. Oh, he plays another Kabu. So this is an interesting strategy. This Kabu is actually really, really good because you just draw 8 cards if you only have 1 Pokemon in the active spot, which is really good for him. It honestly is really, really good. But it looks like he's going to File Crystal, so now he's going to go ahead and grab another Pokemon. So definitely really good for him. This matchup's a little bit tricky, actually. It's a lot more tricky than I thought it would be. That Rocky Helmet in the Path to the Peak does make things a little bit awkward because we did, of course, prize that other one. He's going to be able to hit us for 70, which we don't mind, but he's going to be able to put some damage counters onto that Lucmetal. So we're definitely in a pretty awkward position here. We do draw into the Marnie, though, so that could be really good. That could be definitely really good for us. The hand isn't very great, honestly, at all, and we want to take some prize cards. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit a Hammerheads here, so we love to see that. I think what we could do is hit it off the bench, but we have we don't have any way to KO this Dragapult here in the active spot. So maybe we hit it off the Dragapult. I'm just trying to think. He has 40 HP left, so we can actually just KO him with Steel Fist. That might be preferable, but I think we get KO'd in the process. So I think that's actually going to be our play here, to be honest with you. Let's knock it off the bench. Let's retreat into this Lucmetal. Let's discard the basic energies. We're probably playing this matchup super sloppy. And now we can Steel Fist for 50, and he doesn't resist metal or anything like that. So we are getting the KO in this Dragapult, but we're going to die in the process. We're going to get KO'd in the process. Not super ideal, but I think what we can do here is just force him to evolve that Dragapult by attaching to the Zacian V. I think that's going to be pretty preferable. Yeah. We're just going to Steel Fist. We're going to get the KO. He's also going to be taking 3 prize cards here, but so are we. We're not going to attach that energy. There's no reason to. And yeah, unfortunately, that's the 40. So we're both going to be taking 3 prize cards here. Hopefully, we can take Chaotic Swell off the prize cards. But the fact is, we have 2 energies on our Zacian, and we have a Mallow in hand. So we're feeling a little bit good about what's going on these next few turns, especially since he can't attach double energies in 1 turn. So there's a Guzma, Hala, a boss. Not things we would necessarily want. The energy could be good, but unfortunately, yeah, we just don't really have what we need, honestly. This guy does... well, he can't really attack this turn. We're going to bring up the Zacian... well... yeah, let's bring up the Zacian because I don't think he's doing much damage to us. Or we could bring up the Zamazenta and we could heal. I mean, either way, we're going to switch into something and heal it with Mallow Lana. The thing is, if we do that, yeah, we're going to bring up the Zamazenta just because we don't have another switch in hand and we're already down 3 normal switch cards. So if we had a... yeah, okay. So this is what we're going to do. He does evolve this Dragapult and he bosses up the Zacian. So everything is going pretty decent for him. Unfortunately for him, though, we do have a Mallow Lana, so we're going to be able to start chipping away. Yeah, it's a little bit of an awkward situation, I think. It'd be really nice if we could just Intrepid Sword, but it's just not something that's really possible for us, unfortunately. And yeah, he's just going to start shredding us for 60 damage each time. Now, I think what I want to do here is we definitely want a Mallow Lana, but the problem here is that we don't have anything to necessarily, start attaching energies very confidently to. So I'm going to start attaching to this. I'm going to attach this energy to this Zamazenta. Yeah, this is what we're going to do. Well, yeah, we're going to do that. I'm just thinking. Sorry about the silence. I'm just thinking. We're going to pop that Tag Call. So now what we're going to do is we're going to Mallow Lana. And we're going to discard Boss and Guzma Hala. And now we can just go into this Lucmetal, I believe, because this one doesn't have the energies, and I think that's... Or maybe we'll go into this one. No, we're going to go into this one. And again, we can't end our turn on Intrepid Sword because we prized our second Chaotic Swell, and it's still on our prize cards, actually, even though we already took 3 prize cards. So he's going to boss up his Zacian, and he's going to go ahead and hit it with Shred. Not great for us, but again, not actually that bad, all things considered. We can put this doll down, and we could just Mallow Lana for 1, but I'm actually just going to go ahead and Marnie here. Getting energy attachment slowly is going to be probably the most beneficial thing for us. So that's what we're going to go ahead and we're going to try to do here. We do find a Metal Saucer, which is cool. Let's hit this hammer heads first, foe. It's a Tails, unfortunately. It's Tails. It's all good. We can put some energies onto the Zamazenta. And like I said, unfortunately, we just, you know, we can't Intrepid Sword. And if we stay in the active spot, we're actually safe from getting KO'd. So I'm just going to do that. How many bosses is he down as well? He's down 3 bosses orders, so that's also pretty good. He's also down a decent amount of energy, so we're going to slowly build up the Zamazenta. We're going to just kind of chip away. We 3-hit KO him. He's got a Kabu, so again, this Kabu strategy, this Kabu Dragapult, is actually kind of cool. It's pretty interesting. Lucmetal might not be the best matchup for this Dragapult, but yeah, he's just going to shred us, which is totally cool. He might have a boss in this big hand of his, but unfortunately, for him, we're just going to go ahead and Marnie. And what we want here, what we really need is just 1 energy so we can start attacking with the Zamazenta. We do find the energy, which is really cool. And I'm actually probably going to switch use our last switch card instead of retreating off these 2 energies because it could be really good for us to do that. So we're going to switch in to the Zamazenta. And now we can just Assault Tackle for 130. This is a 3-hit KO on him, and he cannot 3-hit KO us. So we're feeling pretty good about all of that. Although with the Rocky Helmet, actually, he might be able to. But we have some energies on our Zacian as well. So worst comes to worst, if he doesn't boss up the Zacian and KO it, we can just go ahead and do that next turn. So and KO him next turn with Zacian. So we'll see. Again, I don't really know what he can do here. I don't know how many bosses we have. We're down 2 boss. He could bench something and retreat into it. That's a strategy for him, for sure. Definitely a strategy he could do. But the thing is for him is he has to go through 2 more of our Pokemon. We're not going to bench any more 3 prizers. He does grab Boss with a Skyla, but he can't use it this turn. So unless he has like another out here, which I don't know if he does, I believe we're going to be able to take home the dub here. It's just, you know, Dragapult doesn't have a great Lucmetal matchup. We definitely were favored in this matchup. But nonetheless, you know, definitely interesting game to showcase to you guys. I was hoping to maybe find Shadow Rider. But what you guys can do here is, yeah, he's just going to hit us with Shred. What you guys can do is go watch the Grand Finals match, which I posted on the channel a few days ago, where you guys get to see the Shadow Rider versus Lucmetal matchup. So anyway, he's got 130 HP down. Zacian does 230, so that's 360. I'm feeling pretty good about those odds. So let's attach to the Zacian, and we're just going to retreat into him. Don't click the other Zamazenta. That would have been bad. And we can just end our turn with Brave Blade, and that's going to get you the game, so he concedes because he doesn't want to see the attack happen. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know Lucmetal gameplay isn't something you guys typically want to see all the time, but you know what? It's Lucmetal. Lucmetal's a really good deck right now, I promise. And, you know, if you have some old cards, if you don't really have any of the new Chilling Raid cards right now, or maybe you just don't want to play any of the new decks for whatever reason, Lucmetal is going to be your best pick right now. I really do believe that. Lucmetal is phenomenal right now in this format. It was last format. It's just still really good. And shout out to Wade Daze, whatever his real name might be. Again, I apologize. Shout out to him for winning the 520-player Chill Series tournament with Lucmetal. Absolutely insane. What do you guys think of Lucmetal? Do you think it's worth playing these days? Do you think it's still a good deck? Let me know. Is the ADP better? I just want to know your guys' opinions. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Deck list export down in the description below. Don't forget to register for Chill Series number 39, or sorry, 38. So 37 was last week. So 38 is actually going to be this week, and that is coming up on Wednesday. Link to register for it will be down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to get out of here. Shout out to PTCGO Zone. Shout out to all you guys for playing. We're going to get out of here. You guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.